Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. More accurately, they dragged me, kicking and screaming. By now, everybody on both sides of the Mississippi River knows all about the Saints Row reboot. Whether you were one of those reactionary types who immediately said "thing bad" before you even had it in your hands, or you had to suffer through seeing those reactionary people online. Because of this, and all the money I already spent on the rest of the franchise, I figured it'd be the perfect chance to jump back into the series and finish off what I started. Not because I particularly want to, but because I feel like I have to finish my veggies before I can get to dessert. However, despite finally owning another 360, I still haven't gotten around to buying Saints 1 yet. It's the only game I don't have. So I guess we're playing the sequel. Fuck Chronology. Released in October of 2008 for the PS3 and 360, in January of 2009 for Windows, and even April of 2019 for Linux, Saints Row 2 is often given the title of the best Saints Row, the best GTA-like, and even the best open-world video game ever made. It's often been seen as the perfect meld of the serious story, the goofy world, and the fun third-person gameplay, before that first one withered away when the third rolled around. Now, this game also has a very unique issue. Like I said earlier, Saints 2 was also ported to PS3 and PC, as opposed to the original, which was simply a 360 exclusive. So 2 simultaneously had to juggle between following up the original's cliffhanger ending, while also being independent enough for new players to enjoy the ride. And did it succeed? Yeah, I guess so. Video over. I was originally going to go into each storyline and give my thoughts on them, but I'm not going to waste anybody's time, mainly mine. While the gameplay and open world are incredibly addictive, which we'll get to later, what actually pushed me through my 28-hour playthrough was the narrative. That's longer than I spent on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just let that soak in. However, if you are a sinner like me who was blind to the gospel of Saints Row 2, then here's the setup. Now I have to call my priest after this video and ask for forgiveness. The playable character, often referred to as Playa and later the boss, was betrayed and seemingly killed by the original boss of Saints Row, Julius Little, who's voiced by Keith David, who plays the Arbiter. That's random factoid. It doesn't mean anything about the channel. I promise. It doesn't mean anything. Ignore it. It doesn't mean. Fast forward 5 years later, and Playa wakes up. I'm not calling them Playa. I refuse to belittle myself in that way. The playable character wakes up from a coma into their worst nightmare. The Saints have disbanded, Johnny Gat aka Best Boy is on death row, and 3 new gangs have taken over the city. The Brotherhood, Sons of Samdi, and the Ronin. Once you do a couple setup missions, eventually the world opens up and each gang can be tackled in any order you choose. Each storyline also involves specific characters like the aforementioned Johnny Gat, as well as newcomers like Carlos, Shaundi, and Pierce. Now, in my opinion, aka the right one, the Sons of Samdi storyline is by far the weakest. It has the least to do with the Saints, only involving Shaundi's ex-boyfriend, Veteran Child, and that's only towards the beginning until he's click-clacked by the main character, leaving us with the villains, Mr. Sunshine, and I forgot the main character. I legit just forgot the fucking main villain of the Sons of Samdi's name. What the fuck? They're fine characters, but they're not enough to entice me to actually play through the storyline. Because of that, this whole subplot just feels like fluff to make the game feel longer, which it probably didn't need. The Brotherhood is good. Bars. I really wish Carlos got more screen time before he was, shot in the fucking face. That man got old yellered hard. He only has about 5 or so missions before he's, as I previously said, put out of his misery. Then Myro's girlfriend is killed in retaliation, and after that, it's mostly just meaningless missions for a little bit. At least that was the case until the final couple missions where the cutscenes and the set pieces just really saved the story for me. Unsurprisingly, the best story overall is the Ronin. Yeah, make your fucking weeb jokes, you correct person. Japanese shit aside, this is probably the most well-known storyline out of the entire game, mainly for giving Saints Row its reputation of being dark, and that's pretty much chopped up to the amount of brutal death scenes. Mind you, there's lots of deaths, lots of fucked up ones, a couple that honestly churned my stomach and made me feel bad, but Man, the Ronin plotline feels undeniably nihilistic. Even after killing everyone who's responsible for the death of Aisha, a central character from the first game and Johnny Gat's partner, it feels very empty. So maybe it's fitting that the actual ending of this game also feels hollow. Would you look at that? It's a segue. Vogel, aka Jeff Bezos with hair, is the CEO of Ultor, a big company who's gotten their hands mixed in this whole gang war for his own personal gain. To simply refer to him as a fun villain is an understatement. He's probably up there as one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise. Jay Moore's portrayal of this scenery-chewing, slimy businessman was enjoyable to watch from front to back. However, his death is very anticlimactic. Not the actual death, but the build-up and the falling action afterwards is very limp. The playable character shoots Vogel in the mouth, sending him out of the top floor window and splattering onto the street below. Sean D. Pierce and the main character hitch a helicopter ride out of Ultor, ending the game on a "we can do whatever we want" line. Frankly, it's disappointing. That is, until you realize that there's a secret ending. It pretty much just ties up all the loose ends from Saints 1, specifically with Julius. But since I still haven't gotten around to playing that game, all of this is just lore to me. After some shooty bang bangs, the playable character and Julius argue over their respective philosophies about what the Saints have become, which results in Julius being shot in the mouth. Side note, I noticed that Julius's final argument is eventually shared by Johnny in the beginning of the third, making that game setup have a lot more weight, which also makes me wish that the writers honed in on that to make 3 feel more like a sequel to 2 and not a soft reboot. Anyways, this is only technically a secret ending since you can do it at any point in the game, but it feels more narratively cohesive as the end of the arc that began in Saints Row 1, an arc I will get to one day. Part of what makes this world so believable and easy to go along with is the cast. Daniel Day Kim, who is always amazing as Johnny Gat, Yuri Lowenthal, Phil Lamar, Eliza Dushku, Brian T, Neil Patrick Harris, Jamie Presley, Jay Moore, who, as I previously stated, does an amazing job as Dane Vogel. Even Mr. fucking Sheffield got it on this! I honestly can't think of one character who sounds off, one piece of the puzzle that doesn't fit. Even in parts of the story where I was kind of falling asleep at the wheel, I was at least able to sit through the cutscenes thanks to the cast. As a standalone story, Saints Row 2 is good enough to get you over the finish line, and there's more than enough moments that will stand out as the best in the series. Is it the best video game story ever? Not to me, but to each their own. Well, now that all of the Saints Row fandom hates me, it's time to get into the actual video game part. If you've played PS2 era Grand Theft Auto, then you know exactly what you're getting into. Third-person shooting, melee, lots of vehicles to drive, tons of missions with increasingly ridiculous scenarios. We all at least like it. If you didn't, I don't know why you're here. Thankfully, 2's got all that in a bag of chips. The bag of chips being the addition of that Saints Row charm, i.e. lots of side content with a goofy tone. Usually I love this stuff. Sure, it was a bit oversaturated in Saints 4, but as an anime watcher, I enjoy some good filler every now and then, especially since you get exclusive items for completing side quests. The key phrase being every now and then. You see, each mission costs 1 respect bar, and while you gain respect for doing small things like drifting, killing gang members, you mainly get it from the aforementioned side content, meaning that you must earn respect outside of missions in order to move on with the story. There's a few other games from this time period that also call for this. And I absolutely fucking hate it. In a game like this, where almost the entire fan base praises the story, the narrative constantly has to take a back seat every 20 minutes or so to make way for ridiculous side content. Not ridiculous in enjoyment, but ridiculous in tone. Dragging players out of this seedy crime story in order to do what is the tonal equivalent of Vine compilations next to the police. I can't do saying that. I can't say that. It's so funny. Dragging players out of this seedy crime story in order to do what is the tonal equivalent of Vine compilations next to the boy in the striped pajamas just doesn't sit right with me. It gets even worse later in the game when there's all these stakes at risk and characters keep dying left and right, but then you suddenly have to stop, turn around, and steal a car or smear shit all over the city. Even if we ignore the tonal imbalance, it just fucks with the flow of the game. I'm honestly very glad that this is the last time this progression system was used in the series. Don't remind me. To be fair, a significant portion of these side quests are really fun. My favorite of them is crowd control, which is pretty self-explanatory. It just makes me a little sad when I realize that this was the first and last time that this activity was seen in the entire franchise. And yet, hoeing made it into the third game. Fuzz and Hitman are also very close seconds. There's even a survival horror game within a game that you can play in your apartment. I really do appreciate the amount of work that Volition has put into this game. It's just a shame that you're forced to play these before you can even finish the story, which kind of sullies my enjoyment by making these activities feel more like chores. On the other hand, I did enjoy going around the city because Saints Row has what is possibly one of the most detailed open world cities I've ever seen. And it achieves that through a lot of things. Moving trains, NPCs, car crashes, ambulances coming whenever anybody's hurt, the standard open world shenanigans rigmarole, but also with the addition of intricate detailed buildings that you can walk inside of. Some that don't even serve a purpose and are just there to be there. I should make it clear that not every game on the planet has to do this, but you are the boss of a street-level gang set in a very populated city. It makes sense why Volition would go through the time to make that world feel relatively alive. There's an entire underground mall I discovered only halfway through my playthrough, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was something else that I missed. It's something I honestly haven't seen matched in any other game that I've played, at least in recent memory. Now on to my favorite part of any game, customization. 2's system has been completely revamped in comparison to the first. For starters, the main character can be a woman now. Not too sure why that wasn't in the first game, especially since they're mostly a silent protagonist, but at least there's this running gag about the boss's hair being different, which is pretty funny.
I'm fucking great. Hey, you look different. You do something with your hair?
Did you do something with your hair?
You look different, did you?
I didn't do shit to my hair.
They can have a variety of weights, hair colors, musculature, the works. Unfortunately, to a significant portion of the fanbase, the sex appeal slider didn't exist yet in this game. Instead, you can pick how much muscle or fat you want your character to have. I honestly prefer this to the latter installment's triangle for a myriad of reasons, the biggest of which being that it allows me to have far more specificity in how I want my character to look. If only they gave that attention to the faces, because good lord do they have that 2000s Bethesda appeal to it. No matter what I do, these characters just look uncanny and downright ugly at certain angles. The clothes are also a bit of a mixed bag. The ability to change your socks is something I haven't seen since Pro Skater 1 and 2, which I talked about well over a year ago. It opens up possibilities for tons of different kinds of looks that can't really be achieved in other games. And it's a feature that I highly commend. And I do enjoy some unique clothing items that aren't often seen. House slippers, camisoles, stockings, gladiator shoes, futuristic biker boots? I don't know, I'll take it. However, with that being said, there's a definite lack of clothing options, at least to me. Even when there is something cool, like the aforementioned biker boots, I find it hard to create an outfit where it doesn't feel out of place. And I don't want to look foolish because then a cutscene comes up and you look like this.
The shooting stopped. You think it's over?
I take it back, it's perfect. But seriously, I would have loved for there to be more clothes. But then again, I'm almost like Galactus when it comes to customization and clothing. I'll just gobble up any game with tons of customization. I'll still feel like it's not enough. At this point, I'll never be fucking satiated. Saints Row 2 is often seen as the peak of the series, and possibly the genre. From its good story that can often go to dark places, its great licensed music, the sadistic fuck that is the playable character, the fun missions, and so on and so forth. I think the game spent a long time as a bit of a niche title until the third came along, which went for a way wider, less serious demographic, but to get there, it had to diverge a little bit from the starting point, to say the least. As a result of that, 2 has kind of been seen as the last hurrah or the end of an era. And in a way, the fans aren't wrong, but that doesn't automatically make it this untouchable masterpiece that can do no wrong. And I didn't expect it to be. I wanted a gripping story and an open world that I could have fun in, and I got what I asked for. Saints Row 2 may not be the cheese and rice of GTA likes, but it's a damn good open world game that's still fun 14 years after release, and that's all that matters to me. If you're still here, then I thank you for watching. If you want to see me force myself to play the rest of the Saints Row series, then click subscribe so you can be notified when I release the next video. Also, don't forget to check out the rest of the Saints Row videos I've already made in the upper right corner of the video. Anyways, that's all I got. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. I'll catch you guys next time. Later, kids. Have a good night.
Over work, you can, be free and try things that you would never try on camera.
I'm curious if you can keep acting like a douchebag when I shove that gavel up your ass.
It's fun, it's a little more precise acting, because you have people telling you, okay, stop, do it again this way, do it again this way, do it again this way.
You're gonna get my boys out of jail and help me destroy the Saints.